Hello and welcome to the Blue Open Studio tutorial video series. The topic of this video will be testing and debugging. In this video, we will be discussing the properties of the various testing and debugging tools, and we will demonstrate how to use these utilities. The first utility we are going to look at is the output window or LogWin. And we can use the output window to view additional information about your project. And in this output window, we have three tabs. The log tab, which displays the log messages that are generated by your project, and you can select exactly which type of messages are displayed, but generally they are usually logs that include communication driver or error messages, information when connecting to a database, or housekeeping messages generated by the project development environment itself. Also, it can display any change in tag values that are added to the log settings. And the cross-reference or XRef tab, which will display the results of any cross-referenced tag that we searched for. And this result set will contain every instance of where the tag is used. It will include the worksheet name or the screen name, and then also either the worksheet column or object ID where the tag is used. However, any tag that is used in an indirect reference, such as in a function where the tag name is inside of double quotes, will be omitted from this cross-reference. And in this list, when we double click on an item, it will take us to that specific location. And then the Find Results tab. And this tab displays the results of using the global find or search command. So the output window is located by default in the bottom right-hand corner of the development window. And this output window, as we stated, has three tabs: the log, cross-reference, and find results. So to use the log tab, we can right-click and go to settings. And inside of here, we have several different checkboxes that we can select in order to determine what we want to display. The two most common are the ones at the top of the left-hand column. And those are the field read and field write commands. These are essentially the status messages for communication between devices, be it a PLC device or through tag integration. This will tell us whether or not we're able to read or write to or from that device. For more information on PLC communication, please refer to our driver tutorial video. The other options are the protocol analyzer, which actually gives us information on the protocol. This is very, very in-depth, and it requires some additional knowledge and utilities in order to read exactly what's going on. This is almost like a built-in Wireshark, only without the easy-to-read front end. And then we have options for our OPC communication, and then our security for login, logout, trace messages, which is a built-in function that when it's put into code, it will pop out or output any message that we have set for this. Database messages, be it when we can connect, when we have errors communicating to the database, or if we try to send a query or get results back. And then when recipes or reports are generated, when screens are opened and closed, TCP/IP messages specifically for our TCP/IP worksheets, DDE messages, mobile access or IoT view, so for our thin clients. And here we have a little more box next to it. So if I enable it and go in, we can select what message type and the components, and then also the verbosity, how in depth we want the messages to be. And then an insert date time. This will put a timestamp at the end of whatever message we display. So if we want to know when something occurs, we can put that in there. And by default, none of these are checked. These have been checked with previous tutorial videos as we've gone through. So for this, I will just check the insert date and time. And then for the log tags, if we come here, we can select a specific tag to put in there. And whenever that tag changes value, it will show us here. It will also tell us what the value is and what caused the tag to change value, be it a worksheet, a driver, or input through a screen. So for example, I will put on here the DA random. And I will make sure under my options I have insert date and time. I'll click OK. And And then I will start up the runtime. And we see here, we can see our entries for our tag and when they change. And we see what's doing it, for example, the OPC client, the group number and the line on the worksheet, what the tag is and what its value is and what its quality is, along with our timestamp. Now this is moving pretty quickly. If I wanted to, say, take a better look, I can right click and on the pop-up menu, just click on pause. And it's still running in the background. It's just no longer outputting the display here. And if I wanted to copy these, it's not a simple Control A, Control C, Control V. We have to select it with our mouse like this, right click and select copy, and then we can paste it out into a text editor or Excel or wherever we want to put it. And to clear this out, we would right click and select delete. Also keep in mind that pause will be on until we turn it off. So once I turn it off, it comes back. Then if I come here and click delete, okay, it clears it out, but it automatically starts repopulating. So I will go back into my settings and remove the tag. And then once I do that and delete this, now my window stays clear. And then for the cross-reference and find results, when we look at those utilities, we'll come back down here and see how the windows output the data. The next utility we'll look at is the cross-reference or XRef tool. And this tool is used to search the project screens and worksheets for the tag that we selected in the text field. This function writes a log detailing all of the occurrences of this tag to that XRef button in the output window. And as previously mentioned, those results contain the location, be it a worksheet or a screen, the column or object ID of where the tags are located. And then if we double click on one of those entries, it'll take us to that location. An important note is when tags are indirectly addressed, such as in the set tag value function where the tag name is inside of double quotes, these are excluded from the cross-reference search because it's not a tag in that instance, it's just a string of text. To access the cross-reference utility, in development, we want to make sure we're on the Home tab of the ribbon menu, and we see the cross-reference to the far right on the tags group. And there are two ways to run a cross-reference. The first is to click on the object finder here to the right of the field. We can browse and select a tag that we want to use and click OK. Additionally, if we were to go to our tags list under the global tab of the Project Explorer, when we select a tag here, we see that it shows up in that field as well. So for example, I will click on float value, and then I will click on cross-reference. And it quickly ran a cross-reference. You see that it quickly ran a cross-reference. And if we look down here, we have 4 entries where it's used. And it shows us the screen or worksheet where it's used, and then the ID or column where they're used. And if I double click on this, so I'll click on the top one, it'll take me to that screen, select the object, and bring up the properties. And we see here, here's where float value is used. If I close this, and I'll close the screen, and I'll do another search. For example, the DA_ramp, and I'll do a cross-reference. We see here it's used in one location, which is the OPC worksheet in row 1, column 1. So if I double click, it will take me right there to that worksheet. The next utility we'll look at is the database spy. And this window is a debugging tool that allows you to monitor and force or write values to a project tag and execute and test functions and math expressions during development or during runtime. The database spy is located in the bottom left-hand corner by default of the development window. And here we have several tabs that we can use. We have 4 database spy tabs, and then we have 3 others, local, stack frame, and task frame, which are here for our developers to use and we cannot use for any purpose in the software. They just left the tabs visible. So in each one of these, we can enter in a tag. So for example, I'll come down here to my DB4 tab at the bottom, and I can right click and select insert tag or expression. and I can select a tag to use, and it will put in the tag and give me the value and then the quality. And this quality is whether or not it's communicating to or from a device and whether or not we're able to get values for it. And then there is this continuous column. It will continually read the value here. If we only want to do a one shot, we would just uncheck that. And then we can right click here and select toggle to update the value. So for example, if I come back to my DB1, we have a DA underscore ramp and a DA underscore random. And these were entered in when we configured our OPC DA communication. Please refer to the OPC tutorial video for more information. But if I start my runtime, and I come back in, we see here that we get updates in real time of the values. That's because we are not only accessing the tags through our OPC worksheet, but our database spy is then also able to access what the values are through the tags database. And for example, we can use built-in functions. The most common one is the get app path, which will give us the application directory where the APP file is located. So if we wanted to use others, we could come here, right click, select insert tag or expression. And in our object finder under functions, we can pick one. So for example, trace. And I will just do a simple test here with this. I will put in test. Click OK. And we see trace test and it comes back with a result of 1. And our output window gets the trace message. 1 meaning that the result of this function was successful. Also, we can look at tag properties. So for example, our DA underscore ramp, if I right click and select insert line, it'll put a line in and I will put in the tag DA underscore ramp, and then I will put in the tag property time stamp. When I do that, you see now I get a timestamp and it is constantly updating. Obviously the date isn't, but the second is. So we can also read in the tag properties of any tags that we configure inside of the database spy. Next tool will be the verify. And the verify validates all screens and worksheets, recompiles expressions and scripts, checks for any missing tags or broken tag references, updates screens that have been published for web-thin clients, and deletes unnecessary files. It also updates any modified link symbols on the screens. Essentially, the verify is not only an error check, but it's also a project cleanup. The verify is located in the Home tab of the menu ribbon. And we'll see it here under Tools. And if we click on it, it brings up the Verify Project dialog. And we have either 2, 3, or 4 checkboxes, depending on how we have our application configured. We will always see the top 2, remove temporary project files and remove blank lines in project database. But the bottom 2 will depend on what we have configured. So if we have tag integration enabled, the third checkbox will show up. And then remove device configuration for non-existent devices. So if we have tag integration enabled, we'll get the second 2. And this will automatically add integrated tags to the use tags and then remove any device configuration for non-existent devices. So if we have any information, any configuration for a device that is no longer available or that we've removed through tag integration, it will remove those configurations. Additionally, through the verify, we can set a password for all of our files. So this isn't that device protection that we mentioned in a previous video. This is individual passwords for each file. However, they all just have the same one. So what I will do is I will click all 4 of them, click on verify, and now it'll run through and essentially do an error check and a cleanup. Now you can perform a verify when the application is running. However, it is extremely slow. So we recommend stopping the runtime before you perform a verify. And it's finalized. I'll click OK, and I'll click Close, and we see that we have our results in the Log tab of the output window. Shows when it was started, shows when it was ended, and in the middle, if there are any issues, it will come up. So for example, we have 2 here that are essentially COM objects in assembly. This has to do with our ActiveX and .NET controls. And they're not marked as serializable, which is an warning or an error for ActiveX or .NET, but it has really no problems or issues with our application. So we can ignore those errors. And unfortunately, at this time, there's no way for us to resolve those without correcting the ActiveX or .NET controls. So to show you again, for example, if I come here to my data sheet for my tags, and if I delete a tag, so I'll delete something simple. I will delete the float value tag, and then I will close this and then run a verify. I'll check all 4 boxes again. We see once it's completed, we now have some additional messages. It gives us our screen name, our ID for the object, and it gives us the message compiler error. There's an invalid tag, so this tag is missing. Additionally, it shows that there's a tag property we're using. As stated previously, though, any tags that are indirectly addressed are omitted from this. So if we're using the tag name inside of double quotes, it won't find that it's missing if we delete that tag. And if I double click on one of these, it will take me right to the object on the screen that's missing that tag. So I will close this out without saving. And just to make sure that we're okay, I will add back in the tag. And then I will once again run a verify. I can right click and select delete in the output window to clear it out. And I'll come back up, perform another verify. This time I won't check any of the boxes. See now that it comes back with only the 2 errors about the system COM objects. The next utility we'll look at is the replace. And this allows you to replace one or more tags in the current document or worksheet or screen object. So it's localized to a single file in the application, not the entire app as a whole. And an important note is that tags that are indirectly addressed, where the tag name is encapsulated inside of double quotes, are excluded from this replace. So the next utility we'll look at is the replace, which we'll see it in the home tab of the menu ribbon up here under tags. But if I click on it, nothing happens. That's because I don't have a screen or a worksheet open. So if I go to my graphics tab in the Project Explorer and I open a screen, in this case I will open animations. And now if I come back to the home tab and I click replace, I get a dialog here where I can select either custom properties, tags only, or tags and properties. And this will just list which ones we want to see. And we can also select to replace by parts if we have tags or tags and properties selected. So now if I check that, I get some additional tabs here. For example, string value, level, main tag name, array index, and so on. So if I uncheck that, I just have whole tag name or string value. And here's where I can put a from or to. And we see here that we have fields where tags are used. So we not only have the tag itself, but if a tag property is used as well. So if I wanted to change one of these, for example, blue, I can come here and I can come to the to field, right click, bring up the object finder and select whatever tag I want. Then click OK, and it will replace that tag in this entire screen with the one I've selected. The next tool we'll look at is Global Replace. And this works similar to the replace, only now it is for the entire application. This allows you to replace multiple tags in all documents that are screens and worksheets of the whole project. But once again, any tags that are indirectly addressed, meaning the tag name is inside of double quotes, is excluded from this global replace. The global replace utility is found in the Home tab of the menu ribbon in the Tags section on the right-hand side. And we see global replace right here. And unlike replace, we have to have all of our windows closed in order to use this. So I will open up the global replace, and this time what I have to do is I have to select a tag for both the from field and the to field. So I can right click on both and select the object finder, select the tag I want, and then I can come to the to, select a different tag. And now what will happen is when I click OK, it'll go through the entire application and replace the tag in the from field with the tag in the to field. As I've noted before, any tags that are indirectly addressed, meaning they're inside of double quotes, will be omitted from this replace. The next tool is the remove unused tags. And this tool scans the entire project for any unused tags that are listed in the project database. You can then select from the list of tags that comes back and select which ones to delete. Now this doesn't remove the tags from a screen because these tags are already not being used anywhere. It deletes them from the tags database itself. And again, any tags that are used in functions that are indirectly addressed, meaning that they're in double quotes, are excluded from the scan and removal. Removed unused tags is located in the Tags group on the Home tab of the menu ribbon. And if we click on it, it'll bring up a dialog that will first run a verify, because this is cleaning everything up, making sure that we have everything correct. So it's just doing an error check really quick for us. And then once that's done, so it shows no tags were found. So if I come to my graphics tab, expand my screen list, and I go to my animations, and if I delete the rotation here, and then I close and save, and then I select remove unused tags, it then comes up with a dialog that shows the unused tags and what they are. Then I can select which ones to remove, check or uncheck all of them, and then remove them. Now, once again, and it even notes it down here, that any tags that are used as indirect addresses, meaning inside of double quotes or with a pointer, those are omitted from this procedure. So you will have to check for those first before you remove the tags. The next utility will be the reset tags database. And this reloads the tags database on the local station. This command affects all tags stored in the project tags folder. And what this does is it will either reset the tags to a blank or 0 value, depending on their data type, or to what is called a startup value, which is a tag property that can be configured. So when the reset occurs, it will set it back to this startup value that's been pre-configured. For more information on that, please refer to the tags tutorial video. The Reset Tags database is located on the Home tab of the menu ribbon, and it is in the Tags group. When we right-click on it, nothing happens. We don't get an indicator. All it does is simply resets all the tag values either to 0 or blank, or to their startup value if it's pre-configured. The only indication we would get is if we have anything in the database SPY and they had any preset values. So for example, if I came in and I put in 25 for DA random and 99 for DA ramp, and then I come here and click on Reset Tags Database, they go to 0. And the last utility we are going to look at is the Find Replace. And when you create a new project, a search database is also created for it. This database contains an index of every document in your project. That index includes project screens, script worksheets, task worksheets, tags, data sheets, and so on. It allows you to quickly find all occurrences of a specified text string, and each time you edit and save a document, the search database is also updated. However, one thing to keep in mind is that documents that have been password protected cannot be included in the search database and will not appear in any find results. And the text-based find and replace feature has 2 functions. Now, please keep in mind that this is separate from the cross-reference for tags. We're looking for strings of text here, not tag names. And the two functions are search, which is used to find specific text strings in either the current document or the entire project, and the document find and replace. This is used to find a specified text string in the current document and replace it with a desired text string. Also note for this task, a document is any one of several project screens, script worksheets, task worksheets, and so on that make up your project. So we're not looking just simply in screens, we're looking throughout the entire application for the string of text that we're searching for. The Find and Replace tool is located on the Home tab of the menu ribbon, all the way to the left on the clipboard section. Find and Replace here. I click on it and it brings up the dialog. And you'll see here that it's synchronizing. So essentially it's running a search and indexing all of the text that we're using throughout the application. And on the find, we have a drop down here. So for anything that we've recently searched for, will show up here. But if I wanted to look for something, for example, I wanted to look for the word training. I enter it in and select Find All. It quickly comes back with the results, and it gives me the total number of occurrences. And similar to the cross-reference, if I double click on one of these, it will take me right there, and it'll show me where it's located. Now, I can look in the entire project, so if I don't have any screens open, the entire project is the only selection that I can pick. But if I open a screen or a worksheet, so for example, I come to animation, I can either select the entire project or current document. Then if I select current document and I click Find All, text training was not found. And then for document replace, we can put in what we want to find and what we want to replace it with. And this will do the same thing. It will either do a search for each next one, and then we can replace it on an individual case by case, or we can replace them all. So if I close this now, you see that I can't use either one for the document replace. That's because the replace works on single screen or worksheet files, so documents as they're referred to here. So if I were to open, for example, my event worksheet, so I'll come to my tasks and I'll open reports, open the training report. I see that I have training here, so I'll replace it with training all capitals. I'll find the next one, I can replace it, find the next one, replace, and you see that's the only one, or I could click replace all, and it says description training report, occurrence of training replaced by training is 1. So it gives me the results if I do a replace all here. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact ProFace America Technical Support by phone at 1-800-289-9266, option 2, or by email, support@profaceamerica.com. You can also visit our website, profaceamerica.com, for drivers, manuals, FAQs, and other product and software information. Thanks again, and have a great day.